Yeah, no, that's fine, do that. No? You might like, but yeah, not
Okay,
rush over the phone.
Jennifer.
I got a meeting starting here in a minute, so.
Folks, we have
Okay.
a live
All right,
stream
sounds good. Yeah.
on YouTube. It's at Robeson Revealed. So both audio and visually will stay running throughout the duration of the meeting. We usually start at 7. And for anybody new, welcome. This is our first workshop of the year. We've done a little bit of change in scheduling, so our meeting workshop is the second Thursday, and then our regular meeting will be the third Thursday. That'll present a little bit of transition, if you will, between our providers, our consultants, as they get their schedules together, et cetera. With the new year falling, we have a new solicitor, Mark Marola. He'll be here this evening, and he's going to be a little late due to these scheduling conflicts that we're talking about. But we always have enough to talk about, I think, keep us going for a little while. So, welcome. If you haven't seen, there are a couple of copies of agendas sometimes. If you haven't signed in, it's a good idea. And let's hope for a good year. Let's hope for a new year and a good year.
Right. Maybe we can get like sponsorship. Okay. Hey, that's my cell phone. I have that. Yeah.
And it's that special key and lock where people can't cut it because it's might be cheaper.
Please.
For anybody here that's interested in discussing the data center, raise your hand if you have particular interest in the data center. Okay, that's an agenda item and also a subject of our an engineering review. And we'll certainly get to that this evening, at least some type of discussion for sure.
I don't want to be in your brain. It's okay to be in your brain. I'll be here all day. It's always in like 20 seconds of hanging up or like end calls and it rings. I remember.
No.
I thought so. Yeah, no. Oh, right.
Okay, folks, I'd ask you to rise. We do a pledge of allegiance. Ask you to remain standing for a moment of silence for our military personnel and our first responders. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. By roll call vote, Mr. Rhodes.
Here.
Mr. Gillo.
Here.
Ms. Fix.
Here.
Mr. Steve.
Here.
And I'm here. Typically, we have a citizen's concern and a public comment period that we like to do at the beginning of the meeting. And while that suggests 3 minutes, it's not a hard and fast rule. I think it's important that the board hear you, and therefore there's some flexibility in that. The one thing is that I would ask that only one person speak at a time. Sometimes we get conflicting opinions or we get supporting opinions, but I'd ask that only one person speak at a time, as we are being recorded, and a transcription of this recording generally is done, helps us with a number of things, including preparation of minutes and recalling things. So if you can speak clearly and only one person at a time, I certainly, the board wants to hear, your opinions. So do we have any citizens' concerns? Ma'am, if you would rise and state your name.
My name is Mary Ellen Mahan. I live at 185 Serendipity Drive, and I just want to express my displeasure with the supervisors who considered who was going to be named to the Environmental Advisory Council. I had submitted my name for consideration and never even got a phone call. I believe I'm probably the only person who is within vice president of a technology company who applied, who has actually run data centers. Therefore, I am very concerned about that particular aspect of the township. Also holding multiple master's degrees and having been involved in significant conservation efforts, including having been the distribution point of the Chesapeake Bay Foundation native tree distribution, where my family and I have given away over 30,000 native plants and trees here in Burrsboro. As a matter of fact, the township has benefited by that. All the trees that the EAC obtained to be able to distribute came from me and the Chesapeake Bay Foundation. So I never even got the courtesy of a phone call. So that's all I have to say. And while I am displeased, I will say that if in fact there are openings in the future, I would please consider that you reevaluate my qualifications, and I welcome any phone call or inquiry into my qualifications. Thank you.
Well, let me respond to that, ma'am. And a number of EAC and community people have spoken and have expressed their opinions. And what my hope is that all the people that go to those committee meetings, just because you're on a committee, or just because you may not be formally on a committee, doesn't mean you can't attend those public meetings. So someone as valuable as you are certainly will have input, and as passionate as you are certainly will have input, within that committee, and it's hoped that you will certainly attend those. So
Thank you. In the spirit of openness and transparency, my concern is not so much that I was not assigned, because yes, I do know I can attend the meetings. I don't believe there's been any discussion as to who was chosen or why those people that were chosen, nor was there any consideration given to those who had applied. No further inquiry to find out whether or not we would have been valued members of that
well,
committee.
I think that's a foregone conclusion. You're certainly valued and still valued, remain valued, but I look at a number of factors, and I'm sorry you're disappointed, but stay with it and we'll keep moving forward. I'll be having more to say on that data center after a
I'm
while.
not just interested in the data center, Mr. Fiddler. My comment is that there was no discussion as to why the candidates that were chosen were qualified, nor was there any discussion as to those that were not chosen. There was no inquiry to them at all, no feedback to them as to what they could have had better in terms of the qualifications, in terms of why they were not only not selected, but for all intents and purposes, not considered, because there was no inquiry, no attempt to reach out at all.
Okay.
And
Well,
I'm a little disappointed, given how much I have actually personally given to Birdsboro since I have lived here.
okay, well, thank you. Do we have any other citizens concerned?
Just like to echo
Could-
exactly what she said.
It's Tom Kine.
My name is Thomas C. Kahn, past member of the Planning Commission, past member of the Vacancy Board, past member of the Environmental Council. Again, I submitted letters for all those applications, and I did not receive one phone call, or my name was not mentioned at the meeting. But thank you, and I will attend every meeting I can.
Well, thank you. Something to say, ma'am?
My name's Kate Kennedy, 728 Schuylkill Road, and I have two things. Okay, so first thing is, with all due respect, how do two people vote on Monday when they have not been sworn in until today from the Board of Supervisors? I'm not quite sure of that.
Okay, if you're talking about Ms. Fix and Mr. Steve
Correct.
specifically, okay, they take an oath of office. That oath of office is here, and they do that before they take office, and they've completed and filed with the township everything they need to be sitting.
I'm just
Board
asking
members.
because you have on, correspondence, or, I'm sorry, where is it?
So,
Right, oath of office for newly appointed officials.
so on the
It's
12th,
this-
right, on the 12th day of November, Mr. Steve had his notarized, and he took an oath of office. And I read from Ms. Fix's oath that she had filed in November as well.
And it was filed with the township prior to the meeting.
So I'm not sure if you're slightly confused perhaps with, there is no formal oath procedure typically where someone's here and swearing in the candidates.
Okay.
They file that. At the same time, Mr. Steve, who you know has been operating as our interim manager, at the same time, he sent his, what is paramount to a resignation. He sent that he resigned as interim.
That was never
Okay.
received.
Then,
Okay, well, hold on a second.
so why
My
was
co-
it
hold
have
on a
it
second,
your
ma'am.
document here for, that happened 2 months ago, why is it on the document happening today, that they're taking an oath?
It's not happening today, it's a reference of an oath of office.
It doesn't say that, I'm sorry, I'm
Okay,
looking
well-
at oath of office for newly appointed officials,
Okay.
so.
It's under correspondence. It's correspondence to township as we see.
Correspondence. Okay,
Okay,
okay. Well,
so-
with that thought in mind then, is that, since they did take an oath of office, and the oath of office was to the Constitution and to the residents of this township, I just wanna make sure that we are continuing with our thought that the PA Constitution, Article 1, Section 27 says, "The people have a right to clean air, pure water, and the preservation of natural, scenic, historic, and aesthetic values of the environment. PA's public natural resources are the common property of all the people, including generations to come. As trustees of these resources, the Commonwealth shall conserve and maintain them for the benefit of all the people." Thank you.
And my colleague, Mr. Gillo, mentioned that he didn't receive Mr. Steve's resignation. However, on the I can give that to Jeff. On the email, the last sentence, well, let's have one person talking
If
at a
we
time.
had a
Scott.
solicitor here, they could probably confirm that for you.
Well, I'm sure the solicitor's on his way, but
That'd be nice.
we believe, we as a board, as a majority of the board, we believe that this document.
Did you vote on that? Talk about that earlier? The
Well,
majority- majority of the board
we
talked
can
about
certainly
it.
discuss all you would like,
Not a
Mr.
resignation.
Gillo. We can
The
certainly discuss all
majority
you
of the
like.
board agreed to it. When did that happen?
He
Well-
did state he was no longer manager. at
Let's,
the meeting today.
let's keep control of
Let
the
me-
board here.
let me-
If
let
you
me-
have a chance, Mr. Gillo, to talk.
Verbatim. I'm talking now,
No,
as you
no,
are
no,
all
no, no,
aware.
no, no.
doesn't do anything for me.
Okay, so you're not
As you
gonna
are
stop,
all
you're not gonna
aware,
stop talking,
this
is
will
that,
be
is
my
that the
last
deal?
day to serve as interim manager.
You're not gonna stop talking then, is that the deal?
Yeah,
Okay, well, then go ahead and talk.
I just
You-
did.
We're gonna read an
that
email
is
that
not a
says,
resignation.
this is his last day, and we believe that is a resignation. In any event, there was a
Who's
question,
we?
there was a question by Mr. Kime.
Yes,
There was a question, what capacity, and certainly at that meeting, Mr. Steve clarified that. So we believe, we being the board, majority of the board, I suspect, believe that he has resigned. Now, let me further elaborate on Mr. Steve's, let me further elaborate on Mr. Steve's,
Mr. Steve is sending
Let me-
emails
let
from the
me-
manager email today.
let me further elaborate on Mr. Steve's service to the township.
We did this.
So, a number of months, 6, 7 months ago, Mr. Steve was asked to assume an interim role, and it was known by this entire board and everybody else that that was a limited duration, term-specific ending should he be a successful candidate supervisor, which you're all aware he is and was. Having said that, it was a known fact that any kind of employment, albeit at a reduced rate, he worked tremendous hours at half the rate, saving the township tremendous dollars. Plus, what is really beneficial is be able to identify what I've referred to previously as a mess. So he's begun to identify that mess. We've been able to put out the fires associated and the emergencies in that capacity. So that's, I believe, is the position. I'm sorry if my colleagues don't agree or are disappointed by that, but nevertheless, you know, we're gonna need to move on in that fashion. So the next item is.
I'm just gonna state, as the secretary of 2025, I am not accepting that as a resignation.
Okay. We'll know for the record that the resignation is not accepted by our
In those
former-
terms, so,
by our former.
yeah, so
Secretary.
at this point, I believe.
A-
he's
anything
still
else to
our
say,
interim
Mr.
manager.
Gill?
Oh, I have plenty.
Good, good. All right, moving on then for a second.
You know what, can I say something?
Absolutely, Mr. Steve.
The township manager is only appointed to the next reorganization meeting. He therefore must be reappointed at every reorganization meeting that comes before us. I was not reappointed, and therefore I cannot be the manager.
Okay,
My
so,
term was done at the day of reorganization,
okay, so,
interim manager.
so, let's
Are you
also,
talking to
let's,
me? You seem to be looking at me, because I don't have a problem with you, I'm just asking, I
No,
don't know how
no,
you,
no,
you
I'm
guys
not.
were able to vote when I didn't realize that you were already appointed or sworn in, effective November 12th, because I'm
ma'am, do you
reading
wanna,
this.
stand and restate that and state?
Sure, I'll state my name again. It's Kate Kennedy, 728 Schuylkill Road. I have no problem with Mr. Steve. You just looked like you were talking to me.
I was
And
not, I
so-
just happened to
okay.
be looking that
So
way.
that's okay. I just wanted to make sure that, I don't have a problem with you, okay? I'm just asking, my question was, is that if you have people on here, oath of office newly appointed, it sounded like that's when they're taking the oath of office. How was I supposed to know that 2 months ago they were sworn in?
I think that's when the board,
That's
when,
all I'm asking.
and that's,
okay?
that's when the board, I think as a form of correspondence, you know, placed it on the agenda. However, I believe Mr. Steve is accurate with respect to that appointment. The managers serve typically as employees at will. And as he suggested, that turns up. But in any event, right now, we are without a manager. There are basic functions inherent with the township, somewhat referred to loosely as administrative functions and others that someone, you know, needs to do. And our police needs to get paid, our road crew, our bills need to get paid, our things from those perspectives need to occur, and that's what is occurring. If any of my colleagues wanna stop in the office, certainly they're always welcome, and they're always welcome to help out and assist. Paula is in the back, raise your hand, Paula. She's, been working overload to try and keep us above water as we, you know, continue to search out for some additional help. So,
And I think as supervisors, we should be not leaving Paula alone on an island to figure it out herself. I think that's our role as supervisors, to make sure that everything keeps moving, but.
Okay, so moving on. Departure of Jason, hold on a second, moving on for item B, departure of Jason Heck from MHCK. Mr. Steve, what's that about?
That was a special counsel, that was for the sewer lease. I don't think we need to do anything with them.
Okay, then the third item C, and then I'll get back to you, Mr. Khan. The third item C, to complete correspondence, is every year we have it's a $300 fee to be on the Berks County UCC Board of Appeals. We'll take that up next week, at our next meeting, and I don't see any problem for anybody on the board with staying in that.
The only thing I'm gonna say about that is, we have a much better chance of having the check if we approve it tonight.
All right, then, will there be a motion to approve that? By the way, folks, if you decide to opt out of that, which we can, then we lose our $300, or there's no proration of that. We'll lose part of that money, but there is no penalty. There's nothing else to do that. Now, some of you may want to know what a Board of Appeals does, and very briefly, would I be imposing upon you, Mr. Rode? Do you know what that board does?
Yes, so, if there is an applicant for a building permit, or something similar to that, that would fall under the UCC. This is not a Board of Appeals for our saldo, zoning, any municipal ordinances. This deals directly with the UCC, the Uniform Construction Code, the Uniform Building Codes. If there is a disagreement between our building code official, and an applicant, that is vetted by the UCC Board of Appeals. That's held by the county. The application fees go to the county, and it's a board essentially of peers, contractors, professionals that vet that concern, that discrepancy between the reviewing agency and the applicant.
Okay, and part of the importance of selecting good people and good providers at the township is, if you feel that you're aggrieved, it costs money, it's time and effort. Most people just pay or suffer the consequences. Maybe not if you're a Walmart. So that's the reason why, and we've had some discussion at the reorganization with respect to codes and permits, and we're gonna have ongoing discussions on that. So that concludes the correspondence part. Now, Mr. Khan, you had something you wanted to say.
Yes, Tom.
Oh, yes, I'm sorry. Hold on one second. We did not vote, so I'll ask for a motion to that effect.
I'll make a motion, we approve.
Do we have a second?
I'll second that motion.
Okay, by roll call vote. Mr. Rhodes,
Yes.
Mr. Gullo,
Yes.
Mr. Steve,
Yes.
Ms. Fix.
Yes.
I'll vote yes. I apologize, Mr. Khan, you were gonna say something.
No problem whatsoever. I just thought that since I am past township manager for 9 years, if I could be of any assistance to supplement what you were just talking about, I am available at different times of the day.
All right.
So with my 9 years in the manager's position of this township, I'm offering services if you want to take me up on it.
All right, well, thank you. Acting Chief.
Good evening, Board. The first item I have on my agenda is discuss BAS. What people don't know what BAS is, it's our medical reimbursement. So right now, our FSA account has a cap of $3,400. I'm sure you guys are aware, in our contract, it is $6,000. So I reached out to BAS to make sure everything was just transferring over correctly, found out this information, asked them how we fix it, and they recommended, instead of being an FSA account, doing an HRA account. That way we're able to do it, but there is a $400 one-time setup fee. All the other prices are exactly the same.
Hey, how many people are joining with it?
All the police officers in the department, except for,
Your contract, once you opt out, you're out.
that's
when
not
you-
what our contract says.
Whether it says it or it doesn't say it, is this an action item that requires action tonight, or is this by just information?
So No, we have to sign a paper for them to be able to switch it over. The last line in the contract says, every officer employed by Robeson Township Police Department shall be eligible for the medical reimbursement.
So regardless of what his version says or doesn't say, must it be done tonight?
They wanted it done prior to this evening, but no, I would
They
say by the
being-
regular,
they being-
EAS itself. I would say, but if you wanna wait till the workshop, the regular meeting, I think that would be fine.
Well, that'll give us time to clarify what's going on. We didn't see this on the agenda previous, at any other time.
No,
So,
no.
okay, so it's something new. We'll take a look at that.
Well, I disagree with your interpretation. I think if you opt out of the major medical, you've opted out.
Okay, well, we'll get a clarification from that, I think, or we'll certainly review that further.
The second thing I had on the agenda is to discuss, possibly building a gun range on our property behind here. I didn't know so there's grants out there. We're not looking for anything big, extravagant. We're looking at a couple mounds of dirt moved and some stone if we can get it, just so we can kind of have our own gun range itself and we can
Where do you practice now?
Huh?
Where do you practice now?
Well, we try to get into Coozing. We had a little bit of scheduling conflict here, this past year, but that's normally.
Who at Cuckoosin do you work with?
I believe it was Mike.
Okay,
But, like I said, there's a grant out there that the NRA holds that'll, provide you with $5,000 yearly. We're not looking for a building or anything like that. I know there's a lot of, I think it's like 25 acres back here, I think. If the township has no plans for it, we were just wondering if it's something that we could look into, especially if there's grant for free money to build our own range where the guys can go back there at their leisure and shoot their guns, make sure they're sighted on, qualify with them, the whole nine yards.
Actually, if, a more suitable site would be out there off of 82. Then we have 5 acres out there.
We could do that as well.
Because it's kind of like out of everybody's,
Yeah.
you shoot towards the river, you don't know what's on the other side.
Yeah.
But I can tell you my experience from when I did one in conjunction with the Pottstown Police Department, it got pretty expensive.
Yeah.
Yeah, the NRA requires you to put all this dirt up around the sides, you're gonna have to do plantings, there's a whole bunch of stuff that we had to do.
Like I said, I didn't look into it. I just wanted to get your feel on it before I actually wasted any time to go and actually look
well,
into all of it.
we'll talk about that next week as well.
The third thing I had on my list is discussion of the award recipients. So on December 17th, the Berks Lodge FOP Fraternal Order of Police awarded Officer Jacob Ketter and Corporal Jed Cooper with several awards. Officer Jacob Ketter received the Meritorious Service Award for a swift response and courageous efforts to save lives during a rapidly evolving incident, along with the Exceptional Duty Award for his decisive leadership in restoring order during a chaotic situation this past year. You've heard Officer Ketter's name here numerous times. He is an absolute fabulous officer and we're very lucky. Same way with Corporal Jeb Cooper, he received the Exceptional Duty Award for his quick and decisive actions during a separate incident, which he took direct action. It was one of the fires I'm sure you guys are all well aware with. But I just wanted to let you guys know that the FOP awarded both of those officers, and you should be proud of them. I'm very proud of them.
Thank you. I'm sure,
And that's all I have.
I'm sure the board's unanimous in that. With that respect, we too recognize some, a good core group that seems to be doing, when they're getting awards,
Yeah.
it means something. So, thank you. Next.
Excuse me, can I say something here? Richard Fix, 93 Proudfoot Drive. We've had a few warm days. We were able to repair the wire underground since the ground thawed a little bit. So the camera is repaired. We put it in conduit this time at no extra charge and covered up all the openings of the original conduit. So
Everything's functioning?
yes.
Yeah,
Thank you.
ATS was here today. They did a great job on it. They really took their time. Everything's done properly. It's done correctly. Cameras up and running. So thank you. I appreciate that.
Okay. And the next item that we have under finances is our expenses, our treasurer, and our sewer aging report. Mr. Steve, do you have any comment on those?
I know, we'll have them in the packet for next Thursday.
Okay. Well, right now, the township hires and employs a number of subcontractors to assist with some of the functions. And as we are able to hire people, qualified people, hopefully we'll be able to get that more timely and more efficiently produced. So, okay, item 6, typically we would have a manager make some comments under this situation. Either I will make some comments on the different items, or I'll ask our outgoing interim manager, Mr. Steve, to make some comments. So we have to authorize some signage for Robeson's non-uniform pension. Is that correct?
Yes,
We have that in our packet or no?
they are right here.
Okay, so we require a motion for that?
I think, see no harm in making a motion to do that.
So, do we have a motion to have authorized signers for the Robeson Township non-uniform group?
It only has space for 4. Pick 4.
So, whichever 4 get there first. Do I have a motion to that effect?
I'll make that motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor, Mr. Rhodes,
Yes.
Mr. Gallow,
Yes.
Ms. Fix,
Yes.
Mr. Steve?
Yes.
I'll vote yes. And item B on the agenda, we'll need a motion to have authorized signers for Robeson Township Police Pension.
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Mr. Rhodes. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you, Mr. Steve. All those in favor, Mr. Rhodes,
Yes.
Mr. Gallow,
Yes.
Ms. Fix,
Yes.
Mr. Steve,
Yes.
and I'll vote yes. So we now need authorized signers for our township employees defined contribution benefit plan. I'll entertain a motion for that.
I'll make that motion again.
Do I
I'll
have a second? All those in favor, Mr. Rhodes,
Yes.
Mr. Gallow,
Yes.
Yes.
Ms. Fix.
And I'll say yes.
All right, all of you know that our Rock Hollow Bridge has been open, correct?
Correct.
Anything to add to that from our engineering department?
There was a final inspection held with the contractor, Whitman Engineering, and the road crew and myself yesterday afternoon. We highlighted a small handful of items we wanted to see addressed. Probably the biggest of which was the guide rail, the bridge rail, as you depart the bridge heading north. It's very tight to the edge of paving. My understanding is the township received some complaints about it. And you know, if you were to have a rather large truck, I think it would certainly be very close to your vehicle. So the contractor's going to contact the guide rail company, see if they can relocate that. We also questioned some final stabilization. There was some debris that has to be removed, a handful of minor items. So, we haven't received a response yet from that meeting, but when we do, we'll circulate.
Okay,
And I've been jousting with him about his final bill.
Yeah.
okay, on an Old River Road update, might I impose upon you again? Do you know anything about that?
The Old River Road, Harold.
We had nothing really new.
So just so everybody knows, we're planning on closing, or is that gonna be closed at all, that bridge?
No, they were supposed to close it in January. That's the bridge going across 724 at 568. It was supposed to close in January. We haven't heard anything. They're required to give us a 14-day notice prior to closing. We've heard nothing. But the concern is all the traffic will be going down Overall Road. So we're trying to implement some kind of calming in order to reduce the speed and make it safe for the folks that live back there. So I don't know if anybody's ever been around for one of the accidents on 724, but it's bumper to bumper from the beginning of Overall Road all the way to Gibraltar. So we have to get back with Marvin and pursue what.
So select a path forward and see it. We also have outstanding a different topic than this, but the school zone Outer High Points.
Yeah.
Okay, by way of item F on our agenda, a temporary staff update. What can you tell me, Mr. Steve?
I can tell you that there are inquiries out to headhunters, temp agencies, et cetera. And we get sporadic responses. Most of the people we have not even interviewed or anything like that.
Okay. Well, as I said earlier at the outset of this meeting, we're looking for a number of staff people, and we'll continue to look. A QuickBooks upgrade, that's been in the works for a couple of months.
Yeah, so I don't think there's any reason to do anything with that at this point. That was the last meeting that was decided.
So that has been done or is completed or no?
No, there's no reason to do anything at this point.
Okay.
But I do want to say about the temporary staff, I thought you guys told me last week you were sure, on January the 5th, that you were sure that we had authorized the hiring of 2 people for the office.
Are you finding that's not to be the case?
We haven't verified that yet, but I just
Well,
want to make sure.
rather than verified, I'll make a motion that we need 2 people, is that correct?
Yes,
All right, and I'll make a motion that we have job descriptions, correct?
we do.
Okay, that we put out the feelers, put out the ads for 2 people.
Which 2 positions?
It would be a fiscal or whatever we decide to call it.
Mm-hmm.
And it would be full-time and one would be part-time.
I call it kind of
I'll second
fiscal / administrative and then a fiscal. So I've made that motion, is there a second?
I'll second the motion.
All those in favor, Mr. Rhodes?
Yes.
Mr. Gillo?
Yes.
Ms. Fix?
Yes.
Mr. Steve?
Yes.
And I'll vote yes. I'll certainly maybe clarify that or expedite that. The fee schedule is item I, item 6I. We have a draft fee schedule, but we're not in a position.
Chairman, what about H? Are we doing anything with that?
Did we pass over H?
You passed
Yeah.
over H.
That was an unintentional passover. RFPs, request for proposal. We're referring to positions not filled, is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, so I have in front of me what I had taken to the reorganization meeting, and there's a few requests for proposals that we're still evaluating or still thinking about. One of them had to do with codes, is that correct? Is that the one you're thinking of, Mr. Rhodes?
I believe there was that one, and was there another one?
SEO.
The auditor?
SEO, yeah,
Yep.
SEO.
Okay, has the board, have you had chances to review any of that? Have any ideas you'd like to discuss?
I would like to, there's a section of one of the ordinances that describes what the whole process is for the code guys issuing a permit is. I'd like to try and find that. And I think that we need to sit them down and make sure that not only are they, but they're willing to adhere to that process. You know, currently, the office staff has picked up more work because when somebody comes in, we have our people accepting the payment for the permit, doing the permit paper, they pick them up, they bring them back, we have to issue the permits, we have to file the permits. And that should all be done in accordance with that procedure.
Well, one of the things we want to try and do moving forward is to get the procedure as streamlined as possible. And sometimes it becomes cumbersome, unnecessarily. We'd also like to try and keep those fees, within reason. So what I recall from our reorganization as it relates to our code services, we agreed to keep Technicon, our current provider, on, at least for now, for 30 days. Do we want to reach out and have a meeting with them at all?
We almost need to make a move by next Thursday. Because 30
Well,
days
we
will
don't
run out.
necessarily.
No, I'm just saying 30 days will run out before the next meeting. So
Yeah, we don't.
We have a week to talk and.
Right. Well, do we want to reach out to them and schedule a meeting with Technicon? Since there's been some concerns expressed, with their services, I think maybe we want to have.
Did everybody look at the RFPs? So, there was one that was a rather lengthy RFP. I don't know what anybody thought of that.
one of the alternatives too is to solicit a bid or solicit further information from our alternate, which is systems design. So I'd make a motion that as soon as possible, they can submit their fee schedule, submit their interest, to place under consideration. That would be systems design. They also handle our sewer affairs too, and have done so for how many years? Long time,
Long time, I don't know.
long time. So,
Thought that was somebody's basement or something.
No,
you might wanna leave that cracked so they know we're in an open meeting. Is something annoying you, Mr. Kime? Open
Yeah,
that
it
door,
was-
just
that-
a
that-
crack.
Beeping was,
I was thinking more of the audible.
So when we do a meeting like with Technicon, is that something that we
We can
just,
ask
like,
if they're
make a
willing to
committee
make any,
for it, or-
we can ask if they're willing to make any presentations, if they wanna attend our next, maybe that is not on their schedule, maybe attend our regular meeting. But in the meantime, I made a motion to get further information from Systems Design Engineering as our alternate.
well, my question is this, so who are you looking to put this together?
That was kind of where my question was going. It's like who's meeting with Technicon and who's.
Well, they can come at our public meeting,
Okay.
let the, public hear. So I made a motion, is there a second on that?
I'll second the motion.
Mr. Rhodes,
Yes.
Ms. Fix,
Yes.
Mr. Steve,
Yes.
and I'll vote yes. Mark, Mr. Gillo, no vote. Or not a no vote, a non-vote,
Bathroom break.
yeah. Okay, so if that concludes the request for proposals, we were talking a little bit about the fee schedule.
Yeah, so, we need to pass the fee ordinance in order to do the fee schedule, and we're not I don't think we're quite ready with the fee schedule, because there's some information that's still waiting to come back.
We just received that, kind of, not in final form, but did we just receive that?
You did should have closed it down.
Okay,
And you all should take a look at that, because you may or may not agree with some of the increases that have occurred.
it sounds like there's one or two that's concerning to you, Mr. Steve, are you?
Well, it don't concern me at all. I mean, I think that, they're probably getting more into the fair. So, for one example was we were at $10 to process a burglar alarm permit. And we spend a lot more hours doing that and time, so it wasn't hardly worth it, and we didn't wanna make it out of control, so we bumped it to 25. We have, several people who have burglar alarms, however, don't like to, provide good numbers or, aren't responsible with them, and they go off all the time. So we also wanted to increase that penalty, for those violators. Yeah.
What
Tax-
was the amount
tax-
before the excessive call out? What was that before?
I think it was like $25.
Okay.
And they're spending hours doing that.
Yeah.
So, sewer certifications, we were at $25, we wanna charge 50. Tax certifications, they were 60 for over 10 years, they wanna bump that to 75. Tax duplicates is $20, I think it was $10 in the past. We're waiting on, information back on the police accident reports. That's at $15, it costs us more than that to process all the information. So, Jason's trying to figure out, whether or not we're, obligated by some code, to keep it at $15. We have also added, there was never a fee on here for, short-term rental, so we've added that on here. We upped the pumper hauler agreement, and, the limited term solicitation, the peddler's fee, we want to increase to $100 for each one.
So it's something we have to do at next week.
I think that they should have it completed by then, you know.
Okay. So if anybody has any feedback, you know, maybe we can talk about that or think about that till next week. All right, let's move on with some two supervisors' reports. Mr. Rhodes and I agreed to handle a couple of issues. I have a comment, since I haven't commented a lot on a lease, a sewer lease. I'll make a comment after I see if there's any update from you, Jeff.
Yeah, I'm back on, now that my schedule cleared up with work, so I'm back on that, so I expect in maybe a month and a half, I'll have something to give to you guys.
Okay.
Say month and a half?
Month and a half, yeah.
All right, so what an SMP database is, can you tell us what that is, Mr. Rhodes?
Yeah, sure. We have a sewer management, or like a sewer management program, but it's basically the septic systems at all the houses that we charge the fees for. We send out reminders, you have to have it pumped every 3 years. We were doing that basically manually, and it was kind of costing us a lot in employee costs. So I agreed to create a database and a program on the Windows computer that will allow them to electronically keep all the information, generate letters automatically, send out invoices, and then kind of collect payment and things like that, to be able to market on who's paid, who's overdue, who needs, you know, the letter sent out to them. So that's basically what it is.
Okay, and understand something, guys, that the sewer management program is not something that this board, you know, thought up on its own. A large area of our township has septic systems, and as such, state and county officials, state and county rules and regulations get involved. So they can set out certain, you know, guidelines, but it's up to us to follow that. And the danger in not being compliant or being at a minimum cooperative, the danger is that as it relates to environmental regulations, they don't view that favorably, and it's not a good situation. Having said that, there are times where the residents are, I don't want to say frustrated, but perplexed, annoyed that they have to do that because a family of 5 may be different than, you know, a single widow. So we have had exemptions, or we've had waivers, if you will, but there's no easy situation. We tried to comply. It's been on the books for maybe 20 years. I forget exactly when it started, but it's something that we need to get back on. On my item, the municipal lease, we have a municipal sewer authority here. That's a different legal entity than the township. And this is a sub-file on the lease, and at the time, our previous solicitor had a conflict of interest that she represented both, the firm represented both the sewer authority and the township, so we had to get outside counsel from another county. I agreed to be the liaison with that and have served in that capacity. However, it's not been a burning flame that had to be done tomorrow. Having said that, it does need to be done. It's a year old, but our outside counsel has changed firms and asked whether we still need him. He's at a higher rate than what our current solicitor is, who again, he'll be here, I'm certain. He had a conflict in his schedule, and I think he'll be here. Hopefully nothing's wrong, but the situation is that he should be able to handle that lease, and the current lease kind of stays in effect month to month. Now, one of the things that's different as it relates to our sewer system that's going to kind of change is that originally when we had to have leases, we borrowed certain monies, we had certain loans, and that's no longer the case. Some of that has been satisfied, so the lease doesn't need to be, you know, the same. So what I attempted to do was to get as bare bones lease as possible. We were billed for, I'm gonna say 400 or 500 hours, to which I wasn't satisfied or happy with. I haven't seen a copy of the bare bones lease. So we're gonna keep that on the agenda. We're gonna kinda keep that flowing. Mr. Steve, are you still serving on the municipal authority?
Oh, yeah?
Okay, so on behalf of Mr. Steve, they will be able to get back with, they had an outside solicitor as well, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so we'll be able to cut down on those fees and hopefully, you know, at some point this year, move forward. Now, you're all aware of a sewer project going on out 568. That is, again, a result of, I'm going to say, a 547 plan identifying some problems and a developer that has to carry some of the laboring war with that. Is there any comments, Harold, you'd make on that?
Other than, it looks like they're moving forward, they just submitted another plan to the state to be able to open the road. Cause I guess the last I saw, they were dead in the water. Now they've made an agreement with the state to go ahead and try to mitigate between snowfalls or projected snowfalls and the size of the holes that you can create.
So this is essentially another entranceway to their development?
It's right on 568.
Okay, now, the individuals that were here last month, were they from that development?
Yeah, there was a couple of them here.
Talking about a number
The
of
snow
things.
removal and.
Okay, all right, well, as it relates to that, the development's underway, and they're not hauling to our sewer system, are they, or are they?
They are not. As a matter of fact, we got an email the other day from the plant operator saying that they were in excess of $50,000 behind in paying the pumper hauler.
Okay, now, that's not necessarily our problem, but it's not a good situation. You're telling me that the builder developer is not paying certain bills perhaps?
The developer,
Okay,
he's responsible for that part.
okay. You know anything about that, Engineer Road?
I know that the holdup here from the beginning has been back fees that they owed PennDOT for inspection and things of that nature. There is a pre-construction meeting, as I understand it, scheduled for Monday morning at 10 a.m. for this sewer line extension in the state roadway. So I'm hoping to learn more about that situation at that meeting. I will be attending, so will an engineering representative from RTMA. So we'll both be there. As far as the pumper hauler stuff, I can't speak to that.
Well, we want to welcome new people to our community. It's nice if the infrastructure goes smoothly, but maybe that's just an ideal world. Things don't always progress as easily as they should. So on our agenda, we have fire companies. I see Mr. Fix is here. Is there anything you have to say?
No, last month I came to the workshop to give the report, and nothing was said at the meeting, so which meeting you want the
Well,
report?
you could submit the report to the workshop, and then we'll have it.
Okay,
Does that seem, that's the second Thursday, once you get on the monthly schedule.
right.
Can
Typic-
you email it to the office?
Sure.
So it's in our packet?
Sure, you could email it, and it'll be in the
So this month I'll have it, next week for the
okay.
meeting.
Well, around the community, people have noticed that the Gibraltar Fire Company, as it relates, is, responding to calls, is showing, we'll call it signs of progress. There's a lot of community people that are seeing that, and I know there's been some, what would you call it, Mr. Gillo, some increased, increased communication or cooperation between.
Absolutely.
And I think that's,
Scott and I have been working together on a lot of stuff. We're gonna be starting working on grants to get some more equipment, get our equipment updated. And I can say
Okay.
since I've taken over, we've only missed one call in the last 2 months where no one responded.
okay, well, we know it's a challenging issue, and we certainly appreciate our first responders. They protect the community. Is there anything from,
I see you're back open with a sandwich sale.
Yeah, the sandwich sale started tonight.
Are they doing food on Friday nights?
Friday night will be a dinner, and I don't know what the special is. I'm not involved with the kitchen. I'm just trying to keep the upstairs running.
okay, I'm sorry, I kinda skipped, I don't mean to skip, I just went to see, but, the Friendship Fire Company, what do we
We'll have
know?
a rep here next week.
There's no,
He normally does,
Reports in the
reports
packet,
here,
right?
he will probably normally do the regular meeting.
okay, well, if it's not too much inconvenience, if we get both reports by the,
It's in here.
You know, we got.
no, I mean, going forward, both reports from
Yeah.
Gibraltar and, by the workshop, it would be helpful. It would be at least good. Emergency Management Coordinator, what do we know about that?
What do I know about it?
Yeah, what does anybody know about that?
I know that I know Galen has taken a couple classes. He's probably not as caught up as he should be. And, I know that, Nick Brody had, both, expressed interest in a, class that was going on a couple months ago.
Okay. Okay. So moving on, we have our minutes, expenses, and reports. Anybody have any comments on those? We'll look at those closer next week. Anybody have any comments on anything? Okay. Then without further ado, perhaps we'll address Engineer Ryan Road.
Good evening, Board. First item under engineering is with respect to the Oak Grove subdivision. Several weeks back, when Harold was still interim manager, we met with the developer, and we are still waiting on specs and plans for the installation of the emergency gate at the end of the cul-de-sac on Oak Grove Road. So as soon as we have those, I'll circulate them to everybody. During that meeting, though, the developer did request an escrow release. We have reviewed that, and we are recommending the board consider escrow release number 2. This is in the amount of $142,548 even. Oak Grove is broken up into 3 phases. If you look under our January letter, phase 1, 2, and 3. The remaining balance after this release from all 3 phases would be $504,628.94. The items contained within this recommendation are primarily grading and seeding and the installation of the on-lot stormwater controls that accompany several of these lots. So some of these lots had small rain gardens and such installed on them. That, as well as seeding and stabilization, are the items that constitute that 142,500.
With the escalation in paving, is that 500,000 gonna be enough to still cover it?
I think
And our automatic gate and gate opener and fencing?
the gate's still in escrow. Yep.
Okay.
So it's a pleasure of the board if you want to act on that this evening or wait till the regular meeting.
What's your pleasure?
We can do it now, we can do it.
Will I entertain a motion to that effect?
What was the amount, right?
142,548.
I'll make a motion that we release escrow, number 2 in the amount of $142,548.
Do I have a second?
I'll second the motion.
Now, before we go vote, I wanna know who's gonna do this. If I'm supposed to do it as a treasurer, or you guys are gonna figure out how to do it yourselves?
Well, this is the practical problems, so I think it's certainly within the treasurer's purview. Are you willing to do that, Mr. Steve?
Done several before.
Okay. Does anybody have an objection? Does anybody want to step in and start processing things themselves? Or do we want to allow Mr. Steve to do that? Jeff? Allow him to do
Want
it?
me to do it? Is that what you're asking me?
No, I'm asking, are you okay if he does it?
Fine with me?
Scott?
Yep.
Fine with me.
Okay, so
Yes,
then,
let's do it.
there's been a motion and a second, and a decision that you wanna be the one to effectuate that. So I'll take a vote. Mr. Rhodes?
Yes.
Mr. Gillo?
Yes.
Ms. Fix?
Yes.
Mr. Steve?
Yes.
And I'll vote yes.
Okay. Next item on the agenda, the Rock Hollow Woods construction escrow. I inherited this escrow several years ago. This is the escrow that's in place for the improvements that were installed, partially installed and remaining for the original approved plan for the Environmental Learning Center at Rock Hollow Woods. We've been maintaining this escrow as open with the understanding that Rock Hollow Woods is working on two things. Permitting some existing structures as well as an amended plan of record, which is on hold until they obtain permits for some structures which were renovated on the property. I received word today from our building code official that certificates of occupancy are ready to be issued for what is now the much smaller learning center at that site, which will also then allow the amended plan of record to come back before the planning commission and board for final approval. So at this point, I am still requesting that we renew this for another year, with the understanding that we will likely terminate it once that amended plan of record is approved.
I'll make a motion, we renew it for another year.
I'll second that.
All those in favor? Mr. Rhodes?
Yes.
Mr. Gillo?
Yes.
Ms. Fix?
Yes.
Mr. Steve?
Yes.
And I'll vote yes.
Okay. Next item, I did pass out to the board, we had a bid opening yesterday morning, 10 a.m. For two projects. This is for information only, no action requested from you this evening. The first project was the oil and chip work, the maintenance work that was going on between Brecknock, Union, and Robeson. That's all highlighted for you. The low bidder was Asphalt Maintenance Solutions. And there's a number of alternate bids, and that is due to some different scopes of work that Union had requested be included in the project. So, this has been circulated to all three municipalities. We will wait for them to provide guidance or take action on this. Specifically, I don't know that there's anything for us to do until Union advises us as to what scope of work they're going to award. There is a longer period in which this bid is viable, because we were anticipating this being a situation. It's gonna have to go between all three municipalities to be approved. So when there's action to be recommended, I will let you know. I will say that we did not maybe recognize the savings that we had hoped with our $3.60 a square yard bid for our double application boil and chip. That's not a bad price, but I guess we had our hopes up that we'd do a little better given the amount of work that we had and the time of year that we bid this. I intend to make some phone calls to try to find out some information why this wasn't as low as maybe we had hoped. Any number of reasons come to mind. Potentially we bid too early, and potentially just market volatility. I don't know. So I'm going to talk to the contractors, and I will get back to you on that. Second bid that was advertised and opened was for our contract one. This is Robeson Township's paving spec. Low bidder was New Enterprise Stone and Lime. Their bid, and this is by the way for the paving of Buck Hollow Road from Route 10 to the lower entrance of Quaker Hill. That price for leveling and overlay, as well as crack sealing, line painting, etc., is $188,887.08. So that is a project that's just Robeson Township. Take some time, review that. We can move forward at the board's pleasure. But like I say, let us look through this a little bit. These were opened yesterday. I will provide you a letter of recommendation on that. If you have any questions in the interim, please let me know. Next item is the Green Light Go grant that was submitted by January 3rd, which was the deadline. It's under PennDOT review. They've acknowledged receipt. The draft of what was submitted without all the cost estimates is in my packet. Next steps for that will be to hear from PennDOT and also coordinate with Telco, our signal contractor, to fine-tune scopes of work and cost as that grant would move forward. I really think we've got a solid shot at getting that. That's an 80-20 split, 80 state, 20 municipality, to upgrade the signals here at 724. So as we hear about that, I will certainly let you know. Final item I have, last month the board had requested that the solicitor and myself take a look at the data center ordinance, which was provided by the EAC. I've done that. Both my brief review and the draft ordinance are attached to my report. I had hoped, this is not what I would consider a full and final review. I had hoped to be able to coordinate with the solicitor. Obviously that did not happen, but these are my general thoughts.
What I've done,
Yep.
Engineer Road, is I made a number of copies. There were 3 as I counted them. Environmental advisory, interested parties, if you will, right? 3 of you.
Well, I think it's probably everybody.
Well, everybody's interested, but I made 3 copies of kind of the drafters or authors of that ordinance. So I have those for you, and then I see Bob Horst out here, who's a new member of that. So if you don't mind, why don't you take these 3? So these are the engineer's review of this ordinance, at least preliminary. I found it to be 18 items or so, and as the process, I think there are a number of people, that may not fully understand the process. I have an extra one or whatever, if you're, are we okay?
I'll get it from her.
Okay, well, yeah. So I think there's a number of people that may not understand the process as it relates. So we've got an ordinance, we're looking at that. Did Ms. London, prior to our reorganization meeting, did she do a review to your knowledge?
Not that I've been provided, forwarded mine to them, but I
Okay,
did not.
so we may not have at least a preliminary legal review, but as this works through the process, we've got a preliminary review. Now, for those who are interested in that, I've reviewed it. There are 18 things. I have a couple of concerns, but we need to, more or less keep going forward. Now, I do believe that it's certainly wise for a solicitor to take a look at that, and I'm certain, he'll be able to do that. In addition, if anybody wants to see the draft ordinance, we had some problems, I believe, on the website, but it was posted, was it not? Okay, so this is the way a good government, a functioning government works. We take an ordinance. There is, data centers are, I don't want to say brand new, but they weren't here. When was the first data center opened?
Township had one 20 years ago.
Okay. I didn't think it's the same type, but in any event, being a relatively new phenomena, there are many times, this is our zoning ordinance or part thereof. And for those who don't know, even though it's a thick, exhaustive book, there's almost an impossibility to cover everything. So therefore, the idea is to try and get ahead of the curve, and that's what you folks have done. And I think we're committed to that. Now, understand something. The zoning ordinance also talks about a number of uses, permitted uses by right, this and that. Well, again, if there's no reference to something, if there's no use permitted somewhere, typically there's a default provision in zoning ordinances, and in our ordinance, at least to my understanding, the default provision as to where could a particular thing be located is a general industrial district. And there's reasons why that is like that, both constitutional and otherwise. Now, it's been mentioned, and many people know that I am a practicing attorney. I don't give legal advice to the township. I rely on our solicitors and others. I have my own ideas, but I'm by no way an expert on that. But to get ahead of the curve is a good idea. There is also something that's intertwined that I should mention, and that's the fact that we're also a member of a joint comprehensive plan, if you will, with Birdsburg, Union, Carnarvon. I think it is not Harold.
It is.
And part of the theory of that plan was that if one jurisdiction, if one township didn't necessarily have an area for, say, a data center or something else, as long as another township had it, it made it acceptable. It made it, there's where your use is. The problem is sometimes people have their mind made up or whatever. In this situation, so they want to go in a particular township. Now, I might impose upon you, Engineer Rhodes, in this situation, the land that the proposed data center, and again, when I say proposed, we've not heard from the first time they made a presentation. They were supposed to provide more information on like electrical. We've not heard anything from them. And I can kind of surmise that I'm not sure any of us are necessarily interested in willy-nilly changing zoning. A lot of time and money went in this. And that tract of land was zoned, I believe, R1. Now, I believe that actually was initiated maybe 20 years ago. It's been a long, long time.
Longer than that.
25 years.
Proposed as 1,000 double-wide trailers when it was first proposed.
Okay, as of now, the status, at least according to the township, is they have some approval for, is it 500 homes?
500 homes.
Okay, so that was their plan, and every landowner, every person has some legal rights, and we can't say I don't want to do anything with that land. Now, in a theoretical world, we could say, well, we want to make it in a park, and if we can pay for that or come to some kind of financial terms, then there are possibilities, but I'm sure you know all the expenses and values of land. I mean, that would probably not be something that's doable. So having said that, the developer has their rights. I don't believe that, and I'll give you my position right out front. I am not big on changing zoning ordinances, changing maps, if you will, unless it makes sense. Well, someone would say, well, where would it make sense? Maybe common sense to maybe change things or alter it. Well, if you have existing uses and you have a natural right to expand some of those uses, that makes a lot of sense. There's issues where that does. It can work. So what I'm saying is that it's a long process. Regardless of whether this center comes to fruition or not, it's still a good idea to complete this, because it is. And as I suggested before, it's important that you understand the process and the timing that it takes. And rest assured that I believe this board, and in my opinion, moving forward, with the transparency element, that you know what's happening and when it's happening, which is why I propose putting the draft ordinance on the website. Take a look at it. Other people may have ideas. Now, we do have a few issues from time to time. Things don't maybe come out as clear or as organized on the website, but that's one thing that I may impose upon Ms. Fix. She has some expertise that, I don't want to date myself, but older people are not as quick at doing. I don't mind saying I'm older. So I think we're going to be, continuing to work on our website, and we're going to continue to work on this ordinance. I do think, if you mentioned that that's kind of a preliminary study, don't let it fall off your radar. Keep it, we'll keep it moving forward. Now, having said that, we're well aware that it's a challenging issue. Does anybody want to make any comments? It is later on the agenda. Does anybody want to make any comments on on the data centers other than that.
Have you guys figured out how much gallons per day they're gonna need, or does anybody have any estimates on that?
I did some research on that. Some of these facilities can use up to from 3 to 5 million gallons a day,
Okay,
unless
so
it's a closed system.
If I could make a suggestion to you guys, get a hold of Galen Brown. He did the calculations for the fire suppression for the 500 homes. He could,
I already gave that information to the township engineer of what that was engineered for and its flow rate. I think I gave that to you a month ago.
Yeah, you might.
So we have that document. I can make that available if you want it.
Yeah, I'd like to see
And
that.
I can also give you the amount of water that's already being taken out of that main for the peaking plant in Birdsboro, which is about 1/3 of it. The Birdsboro property that was on the old Armorcast plant is laid out for 2 peaking plants. The gas main that's coming down to feed it was sized for 2 peaking plants. So if the second one goes in, which I don't see how it can't go with the tightness of the PGM grid, that would take 2/3 of the water of that main that's already coming down 724.
Well, suffice it to say, it would have a significant impact on the community, and this board has noted that. So it's not going to be frankly, not going to be an easy road. And again, I do not believe it appears to be zoned for that.
Correct.
Okay. So under those circumstances, if something's not zoned for something, it's much more difficult to proceed. We have a question.
Okay, just a suggestion, and I think everybody who was involved in putting together the draft ordinance fully understands that there's a lot more work that needs to be done, okay? However, I also think that the members of the EAC fully understand that, in their view, that there is insufficient water availability to make this a reality. And I'm just gonna stick with that one point. And given your comments earlier about the percentage of people that are in the township that rely on wells, there's significant concern about where else they might wanna go to go get water. So I don't believe that it would be inappropriate for the township to consider a multi-step ordinance, okay, or view towards ordinance development that doesn't necessarily need to have the first and final view, an ordinance that says we don't want data centers, or we want these requirements if in fact somebody wants to put a data center in. But perhaps there's an interim step that could be adopted that talks about any development that is considered for the township must be able to demonstrate that there is sufficient water. And that, given your comment, Mr. Bittler, about the multiple townships that partner together, that, I would be very interested in knowing what Birdsboro would think about having a data center and what the impact would be with water availability for them, given the peaking stations that Tom just referred to. So I do believe that there are ways to protect the township.
I also think, and not to interrupt you, but I also think that our existing, as I recall, subdivision land development ordinance, we have some protection as it relates to the water supplies
Sure.
in that.
Yep.
So some of what you have, one of the interesting, challenging things of all these ordinances is the way they intermingle, fit together, the way you may have a zoning ordinance referencing a subdivision and development plan with an erosion and sedimentation, but the list goes on. The problem becomes a little bit challenging to keep those organized, and I believe this board, without question, has confidence in our engineering. We have a high degree, who I think I can mention is also a township resident. I think that's fair. But he's got a good professional grasp on, I believe, what's happening. So your point, your suggestion's well taken, and we're gonna keep looking into that. Any other kind of questions or comments on the data? They have a tough, let me say it quick, they have a tough road to hoe.
One more thing, the toughest road's gonna be on the water. Second is the electric. the PGM power grid is, that's why the peaking plants are in. Every time you see mist coming out of, up on 222, or at Birdsboro, the nukes that support that PGM grid are inadequate to carry the load. So every time you see mist coming out of Birdsboro, all the generating stations that are full out, that takes up the load. And again, back to the Schuylkill River, the Schuylkill River couldn't be used for the Limerick Power Station. When you see mist coming out of Limerick, the water is the Point Pleasant pumping station coming from Delaware River. When you see the mist coming out of Birdsboro, it's not directly out of the Schuylkill, but it's down from Reading. And those two issues are gonna be too hard to crack. If I know ordinances that I've looked at, and even states right now are trying to limit the 24/7 operation on the power grid in case of emergencies. Texas is trying to get it that the data centers can either cut back or go on their own emergency generators to keep the community alive. And that, I know we can't probably do that in our ordinance, but with what I see is a 30 to 40% increase over the next 3 years in electric, because the time lag to build a big generating station takes that long. So,
Well,
it's gonna be a long, slow
it's gonna be a process, and I think everybody should, stay involved. We'll keep you involved and keep you updated, and
I have a thumb drive that I sent around to one of the members, and right now I probably have, 50 to 75 pieces of information on that, and I can make it available to anybody who needs it.
well, thank you. Yes, sir, Mr. Horst.
As far as the energy grid, Virginia has the most data centers. Pennsylvania has 101. Virginia has over 600. Texas is second. California is third. This is from the Department of Energy. According to U.S. Department of Energy, data centers currently account for roughly 2% of the nation's total electricity use. The Washington Post estimates that by 2035, the data center industry in Virginia alone will need 4 times as much energy, enough to power 8.8 million homes.
It's tremendous. There's no doubt. There's a
A lot of terawatts.
major impact.
Oh,
So, okay.
So thank you for the work on that ordinance, proposed ordinance. 'Cause it's not just for this location. There will be other locations that it's attempted in the future, so thank you.
Yeah, we're gonna continue on with the agenda a little bit. Our attorney has not obviously made it yet, but I, again, expect his only way. From a public works perspective, we have a number of, things going on. Is there anything, Harold, that you can contact, or you can discuss what they're doing and not doing?
They've been putting a tremendous amount of salt down when we've had these ice storms. And a couple of guys come in off of vacation to support the effort. So that's commendable. We had one guy with a so-called no-show, but that was on a weekend. So they've done a pretty good job, and Barry's been on vacation, and they're doing a good job keeping up. I think today they were out mowing, doing brush cutting.
Well, they certainly had the weather for it, did they not? This is not a welcome relief, folks, from the winter that may be coming upon us. So, all right, Parks and Recreation. One of the kind of ideas or things that I had been thinking about was that a kind of a spring fling community flea market / yard sale. And it'd be located at the Gibraltar Playground, maybe open to all Township residents. if the board is willing, I'd like to help coordinate that with the Parks and Rec in conjunction with them and make it a nice, nice event. Perhaps we could have both fire companies there if possible. And I'd entertain a motion to let me spearhead that.
Should we ask Parks and Recs first?
Well,
If they're interested.
we should ask them first, well, they don't meet till whenever. Josh, are you in agreement to discussing that and for discussion purposes?
I think it's February 26th is the next meeting, it's
All right.
Monday, I believe.
Yeah. So if there's something major that they can't do, then we'll deal with it, but I'd entertain a motion.
I'll make that motion to have you spearhead a spring fling. We'll leave it at that.
Before we go, you guys, as in the fire companies, looking maybe to open the concession stands and?
Yeah, let's figure out a date or something. We used to do a safety day with Gibraltar years ago. It started there, moved to their station, then dwindled, and that is something we on our side have discussed getting back into doing. So maybe this is the event
I
to
was
start
gonna say,
it.
I would love to be a part of
No.
a safety day.
Maybe we could get a hold of Jeff Bolt to do a bicycle course there too. He's on the Park and Rec.
Well, it sounds like we got a lot of ideas and a lot of enthusiasm. Did I hear a second on that motion?
I'll second it.
All right. All those in favor, Mr. Rhodes,
Yes.
Mr. Gullo,
Yes.
Ms. Fix,
Yes.
Mr. Steve,
Yes.
and I'll vote yes. So I'll try and make some calls and spearhead that. Additionally, we have Park and Rec fee monies available. And when I say available, it's not an agenda item, it doesn't require action tonight, but I do believe there's a backstop on the way, is it not, to Gibraltar, that we've authorized payment, and that's awaiting installation. You know anything about that?
I thought it was ordered.
What was that?
The
Backstop?
backstop for Gibraltar?
You talking about the batting cage?
Yes,
It's all there, they just haven't put it up.
okay. Well,
We've actually, they have had the road crew bring in, public works guys bring in, stones for it, I mean, everything's.
okay, so
pretty
I'm
much there.
under the impression that Fowlville needs a similar one. And, I'll have more information on that a week from now. And so you guys understand, one of the generations of revenue for park and recreation is a calculation that sometimes a developer will need to pay a certain amount per lot. What's the current amount?
I don't know off the top of my head.
It started 20-some years ago at $170, as I recall, a lot. I think we're over $500 or $600. So sometimes that money accumulates, and I'd like to put that to a little use, at least some of it. We're certainly not going to drain the funds. The last I checked, I saw one number was, from a Parks and Rec standpoint, we may have had like $60,000, and it's been sitting there for a while. The actual ordinance requires, as many of the ordinances requires, it requires us to use funds when you collect those from somebody within certain time periods, or you lose them. Now, most developers do not, to my knowledge, do not care, but it's not up to us to worry about whether somebody else to care. It's up to us to uphold what we have to do under the ordinance. And you don't want to have those hassles. So I'm not suggesting that is a problem. I'm suggesting that we have a community areas that need some resources, and we can apply them because we have them. Someone asked me, what does this township in rough numbers, we have a budgetary process, but how much do we need? And the answer is, at a minimum, $3 to $4 million. Is that not correct, Mr. Steve?
Yes.
Okay, and we've had this discussion where money is, becoming increasingly of concern. I've had a theory that sometimes as a government, we want to kick the can down the road, but there becomes a time when you can no longer quite do that. And if you've ever played that game, the can seems to go all over the way as opposed to a straight line. And sometimes the easiest way to get places, spend money, be organized as, to go in a straight line. So I'll have a little more information perhaps on that, but I believe the Plowville area is in need of a batting cage or backstop.
Brian, do you verify that the fees have been paid for each development? How's it done? Because we had a question about Green Rose Estates, whether we've actually got the money for that.
Those fees are due when the plans are released for recording and should be collected with the bonds, et cetera. So, maybe we should have a discussion regarding that.
Yeah, we should.
Okay.
Well,
Mr. Khan?
just to get back to the Park and Rec, Tom Khan, I have sound equipment that I've lent out thousands of times. And, the Christmas at Birchboro has been the major use of that for the last 10 years, and other organizations. If that could be of use to the Park and Rec.
You said sound system,
I
PA system.
Oh, I have all that.
Music.
I also have, what I wanted to do when I was manager and never got around to doing it, was doing a summertime, drive-in movie night. I have the projector, I have the screens, and I have old movies.
So, I'm glad you brought that up. You know, there was a movie filmed here in Robeson Township, like 2
What?
years ago. There was a movie filmed here in Robeson Township a couple years
Yes,
ago.
okay.
I have to look through all my notes, but I think I still have the guy's name, and I don't know whether they've ever finished it, but I had asked the guy at the time whether they would premiere the movie here in the park.
I
To-
have a
to,
video projector set, if it could be put on DVD, or thumb drive, or even a VHS tape. I can put it up on the screen with sound. Right now, I just had the closing meeting for the Birchboro Christmas program, and we're thinking about getting, an FM transmitter for the Christmas program for the people that don't wanna get out of their cars on cold nights, or the local people in town. So if we do, I might even buy that myself, a couple of watts, as long as it doesn't have to have an FCC license. The ones that they have for sale are the 1 watt or 7 watts, and they can go out to 2 or 3 miles, but I wouldn't want that much. But that would be a good, drive-in movie night, to have it in your car with the FM radio, to see it on the screen. Right now, my Lions Club is gonna be at, the Ole Fairgrounds again for Night at the Races, and that'll all be my equipment. Also, to put a plug in, I also have a fixed-up hot dog roller that I have with 30 hot dogs. That goes out over a dozen times a year for Boy Scouts and different organizations. So for the Park and Rec, I have sound, I have a video projector, and I'm looking at a way to get something that would be amenable to Night at the Movies with drive-in capacity. But I also have a hot dog roller that goes out to churches, fire companies, and also other organizations. So I just put a plug in. I have the equipment, I've never charged a cent for it. I keep it stored in my garage, and sometimes people come pick it up, show them how to use it, they bring it back, I store it. So
Okay.
that's available.
All right, there's a question. Please stand up and state your name.
Robert Caldwell, Wood River Road. Dr., the thing with the Plowville, with the baseball, there's some things out at the Plowville, like you said, backstopping it. Plus, I believe we use their field at the fire company out in Geigertown a lot. That field is the worst one out of all of them. It needs a lot of attention. A lot of the kids from Plowville are from Robeson Township, so.
Good. Well, we're going to try and expedite, try and facilitate, kind of a new beginning. I think we all ought to look at 2026 as challenging times, but also, an opportunity. So, for the most part, the agenda is concluded. We are going to have an executive session. For those of you who are not knowledgeable on that, executive sessions are for certain specific legal reasons, legal matters, getting legal advice, talking about personnel. And that's gonna be one thing. I do not believe there's any more agenda action items, although I would not guarantee that. So when we come back out of executive session, it's possible to take a vote, but I don't know of any right now. There's another question. Sir, could you raise and state your name, please?
Kent Himmelwright with the Schuylkill River Greenways. We had spoke with Craft Engineering and Harold Steve about being added to the agenda tonight.
I didn't see you on the agenda,
We were,
and I apologize.
Missed out on transition.
I do recall the email.
I do too.
I don't, but you have the floor, sir.
I got 10 or 15 minutes.
No, not yet. You have the floor, sir.
I'm gonna hand out here. This way. Kent Himmelwright with the Schuylkill River Greenways. We manage the Schuylkill River Trail in Berks County here. It's about 30 miles here in Berks County. I would say we have about close to 5 miles of trail here in Robeson Township. Some of it being off-road. We have an on-road sign route on Schuylkill Road. It crosses 724, goes down Old River Road, and then it connects with our existing off-road trail at Gibraltar there. And then it continues on to the city of Reading. The trail, the Super River Trail, goes from Philadelphia. It's just about 99% complete from Philadelphia to the city of Reading, about 70 miles. And Schuylkill River Greenway is in charge of building it north of Reading into Schuylkill County, the whole way up to Frackville. We have been in discussions with PennDOT. I would say this action was initiated by someone who uses the trail a lot and went through PennDOT's public system to initiate this action where PennDOT acted on this, and then we got into a conversation with us as managers of Schuylkill River Trail. But we've had ongoing conversations with PennDOT about our 724 crossings for 15 years, 20 years.
So there was not to interrupt, but there was
Yeah.
a fatality of that intersection, correct?
Yep, just a few years ago, yeah. That's the intersection. So this is the intersection, at Schuylkill Road and Old River Road. And in conversations with PennDOT, if you look at this packet here, they have given us, so the first photo here is what it looks like going, it's westbound actually. There's one sign notifying drivers on 724 that there is a pedestrian crossing at this location. If you look at the next photo here, PennDOT has given us permission to install some additional signage at that location. And it's the pedestrian with the actual Schuylkill River Trail and an arrow, sort of notifying drivers a little bit better of this crossing at the location. The individual who first contacted PennDOT requested reflective paint be painted across 724. PennDOT's response to that, and that's what this correspondence here in the front of the packet is in the highlighted section, is that PennDOT's response to it is that the township is actually responsible for that intersection because it's 2 township roads that are intersecting at that. So if any kind of reflective paint would occur in that intersection, it would have to be through township approval. So that's where we're here tonight is we would like to initiate that discussion and kind of move forward with that process. In the very back of the packet here, there's a couple forgive my crayon drawings here, but I just wanted to provide an example of this. You have an example of a 2-line traverse crosswalk in that area, or even a horizontal bar ladder crosswalk in that area. But I think for this conversation to move forward, that a minor traffic plan be put together so there's some integrity to that plan. We do intend, we have other crossings on 724, one in Coomer Township, right by the PennDOT facility, one down by Union Meadows Park there. Those are painted crosswalks. We do intend to repaint those. So if we would move forward with painting this crosswalk, we would just combine that into one contract and get them all painted at the same time. But we just wanted to kind of initiate this discussion with the township, because for the guidance that we received from PennDOT, it would need to be approved through the township to do that. So that was our request to jump in. That was really fast, and I know you guys have a full night ahead of you still here, so.
May I ask you just a handful of questions, real quick? So my understanding is that your organization will be willing to fund the cost for the paint? Is that for the,
Yes. Yeah, we
bid
would.
the contract and do the
Yeah.
payments?
Yeah.
Okay. The only thing that I will say, and I am happy if the board were to authorize me to follow up with PennDOT and discuss this with them. The other crossings that you mentioned, are kind of pedestrian path to pedestrian path.
Correct, yeah.
So just looking at the last page of our handout here, my initial conversation with PennDOT would be, you know, we are now installing a dedicated pedestrian crossing location. Does this get us into ADA ramps and things of that nature? You know, I think we would have to be on the same page as the department
Yeah.
with what improvements they're gonna wanna see. So, I appreciate, you know,
Yep.
certainly what you're looking at here. But that would be how I would begin to discuss this with the department is, you know, what accessory or required improvements for a dedicated pedestrian path are you gonna be looking for, to make sure that, we're compliant? Because right now, we have signs that say, generally somebody's crossing here, right?
Something's happening here.
And that's a safety concern.
Yeah.
The next safety concern is we're saying, no, somebody has to cross right here, so we need to make sure that we meet all the safety warrants and all the criteria to do that, so.
They're also supposed to be pedestrian. I know there's one up here, bicycles just fly across and you're locking them up, trying to avoid them.
Because
So,
the bicycle is not.
Even though there are
pedestrian.
stop signs on either side of the trail, they just blow right through.
It's brave bicyclists.
Yeah, and now it's even worse with e-bikes.
Yeah, so yeah, I completely understand that. I mean, the guidance we received from PennDOT through phone calls, through correspondence, did not include any other additional, hey, you also gotta do ADA
Sure,
compliance.
sure, yeah.
But absolutely understand following up with that and confirming that, yeah.
Okay, well, thank you.
Thank you.
At this point, we have, I think our solicitor has arrived. Perhaps, Mark, you might want to introduce yourself.
My name's Mark Marola. Hello, I mean, I don't know what else to say.
Hello,
Be
and
here and,
hello and welcome aboard. Our typical meetings are second and third Thursdays, but we are looking to, you know, perhaps abbreviate some of those schedules. Perhaps we've talked to our engineer a little bit about, you know, maybe requiring only one meeting. There were two things on the agenda, and to be fair to Mr. Marola, that he's, you know, just coming on board following the reorganization on Monday, but there's a couple of things to look at, one of which, we have a data center coming, and I have a couple of copies here for you, or I'll get them to you, that we'd like some input on. And then, on the agenda for tonight, we have a fee ordinance, which essentially we deferred, correct, Mr. Steve?
The fee resolution, yeah, the fee ordinance, we should pass so that we can then enact the fee schedule. We can't do one without the other.
Okay, so is that in order, the last you saw, the fee ordinance?
It is, I have it right here.
Okay, and that's been advertised, I think, prior to your,
It has been, and we actually have the advertisement for
and
tonight.
you've had an opportunity to brief?
there was one like little grammar thing I saw, but that was it. There was one part, it was like 2 commas, like something was taken out, 2 commas together,
Okay,
but, it's, yeah, I had the ad. And for everyone else, as you said about the second Thursday is Central Berks Police is usually the first Monday, but since the first of the year, the first was Thursday, so this month, the first Thursday available was tonight.
So there's no real conflicts going forward?
No, once every 7
Right.
years.
Well, your firm was also appointed as solicitor to the Park and Rec and the Planning Commission, and we'll get you some more, information on that. It's a wonderful township and welcome aboard. Before you got here, I talked a little bit about the sewer. There's a municipal sewer lease that's gonna need to be done that now could be coordinated between you and Miss London since there's no longer a conflict. And I'll bring you up to date on that. I don't think it's a complicated document, but I think it's important and should get in order. There was another item that I saw an email from Ms. London that she didn't get a chance to with respect to a cease and desist. You wanna explain to our solicitor a little bit what that's about, or no? Or has he seen it, or?
Well, I don't
haven't
know whether
seen
should or
it
not,
yet.
but probably should
No, it's,
talk about that downstairs.
Okay, well, yeah, that might be an executive session issue, so let's go into that executive session. We'll take our solicitor with us and
Before
then,
you jump down there, can I still speak relative to the EAC?
speak.
Okay. Back up to hi, I'm Kate Kennedy, 728 Schuylkill Road. I'm also the chair of the EAC. So, as you know, some people that were here before, and then the new people, of course, you're not really new, but you're new. Anyway, we put together this data center ordinance as, not lawyers or anything, but with a lot of concerns relative to environment and also to the people. When we put those things together, we took a lot of information from different ordinances that were out there, Food and Water Watch, Penn Future, we know that it references things that don't fit with us, but it was like, our idea was to be proactive. We wanna stick with that, and it sounds like that's what you wanna do, okay? And if there's some other ideas, and we have some great people in this community that wanna be part of that. So with that, and with the idea of transparency, and trying to make sure that the people in this township know what's going on, it does present problem number one, is that there isn't any kind of a newsletter or anything where anybody can find any information out,
I think that would be the website, and I think that's,
Yeah, and the website needs to stay up to date, because right now it is not.
yeah. And again,
it's not something that this poor woman needs to do.
I'm just asking you to be patient.
I know.
I understand what you're saying, understand the constraints.
I do,
on us.
I'm just trying to, so at the same time, is that when there is information that can be disseminated, that it is done, structurally and in an appropriate manner, so that it can be done properly, that we're having factual information going out, and that we don't have a lot of like, oh, he said, she said, and, this, that, and the other thing. So we wanna make sure that we're working on this together, because I think we all are in this together, we have a common, purpose. With that same idea, though, I do wanna make sure that, as part of the EAC, and the ones that really perpetuated and started this thing to get going, is that we remain an integral part of how this happens, not just like, by the way.
You seem
and
like,
we'll
you
try to
seem
come
like
to
you're
every meeting.
concerned that you will be either ignored or,
A little bit.
okay, well,
little bit.
rest assured that,
Okay.
communication is our key.
Thank
so
you.
I'm
Rest
very
assured.
glad to hear that.
Yeah.
Rest
And
assured.
then, can I go back to that point, is that, so that's relative to the data center, but also to my point is that, and being ignored, is that there were 2 new positions where, people were appointed on Monday to the EAC. And it appeared, all right, it was my observation, I was here, that not everybody had a full idea of who those people were. Right, it's not up to me, I don't know them, I'm not the one that's appointing them, but it did not seem like everybody knew, and there was only one person here who got to speak up for himself. Nobody else even knew, can I come and speak up for myself? How were they supposed to know that that was something they can do? So I felt, all right, so I'm gonna say back to the transparency, and I felt, it was my feeling as an observer, that it was not necessarily transparent, and things were happening that I didn't know what was going on. There was no opportunity for the public to speak, and so therefore I left like, oh my God, what just happened, all right? So I would just hope that in the future, that there are things relative, that kind of thing, somebody doesn't walk out of here with that same feeling, because it's horrible. So I am disappointed on how that transpired, because there are some very talented people that, and I know they can come to any meeting, just like I'm coming to this meeting as a resident and now as the EAC person, but we wanna be part of this. We wanna make sure that, 2026 is gonna be a good year, and that we're doing the right thing for everybody that's here, and not, some individual thing and we turn into Potterville. Okay, so
Okay.
we wanna just make sure it happens in the right way.
All right,
So
well, thank
anything
you.
that we can do towards that, we are, adamant with, making sure we've got the right information and getting that out to people so that you've got facts going out and not rumors and, some bad things going on.
Okay, well, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. At this point, we're gonna go into executive session. As I said, there are no scheduled votes. So hold on one second, fellas. Did I forget this?
Yep, you forgot.
Hold on, guys, sit back down, Scott and Jeff, I'm sorry. Let's see.
Ordinance 2601.
So we neglected to adopt ordinance 2026 dash, what will it be?
01.
01. And this has to do with an ordinance for, ordinance setting fees. Do I have a motion to adopt that?
I'll make a motion with that.
That was you, Jeff?
Hold on, fellas, hey, fellas, you can't have people talking when we're.
I'm sorry, I thought you agended.
No.
Sorry.
We're in session and we have a motion by Mr. Rose.
I'll make a motion, we adopt ordinance 2026-01 related to setting the fee schedule.
I will second that.
Seconded by Scott. All those in favor, Mr. Rose?
Yes.
Mr. Gillo?
Yes.
Ms. Fix?
Yes.
Mr. Steve?
Yes.
And I'll vote yes.
Now, who made the motion and who seconded it?
Jeff made the motion and Scott seconded it.
Thank you very much.
8:46. All right, we're going into executive session at 8:46. Mr. Roll, if you might want to accompany us. I think
Just
that
like I
is-
said, if you need help as manager, I have experience.
Thank you, Tom.
I know.
Mine are too.
These days, I learn to keep.
Sure.
That's just the other thing I meant to ask.
One of these days, I learn to
Yes,
And then
yes.
once it's finalized, then.
So that, but we are
I
in a
haven't
state
so
right
far,
now,
so
we're
I
waiting
start
for,
now.
we've got, Ryan's, but the new solicitor to look at it before it goes to planning.
Well, it could go to planning now, I mean, it don't matter.
Okay, but it's not, okay. Hi, Keith.
Hi.
Rob. Nice to meet you.
Same here.
Yeah.
Looking forward to working.
Yeah, I'm a little, I get a little passionate about some things, so.
I do too. If you look at my meeting,
Oh,
there's two people on that board. Said some things. I was in the military. I spent 6 years in law enforcement. I was a second-degree police officer, criminal justice, and a lot about constitutional law. I told them they were violating everybody's constitutional rights, both civil and constitutional. And I told Mr. Gullo and I told Joy Bryce, you took an oath to uphold the Constitution. If you don't know what the Constitution is, you don't have to be on that board. I came in and I gave a copy of the Constitution to everybody on that board. My concern,
I did get a lot more information, but what I wanna do is I'm gonna put up Trump's statements and what he's doing, state regulations. Then, did you see the state came out with environmental help? I just put that on another thumb drive today. But what I wanted to do is to segment the property, then the Pennsylvania and New Jersey power grid, the operating power plants. And I found the website that has all that stuff.
There is,
Oh,
all
yeah,
that stuff is
yeah,
out there, I've
right,
seen it,
right, right.
yeah, I mean, I don't write down everything,
Oh,
it's just like, I'm like, well,
Well, I'll tell you what I do
Looking at
anymore.
this for about 2 years, just personally, because my backyard runs down to the river.
where are you?
1339 Old River Road, right down the road here.
Well, over by Rocky Manor? Okay.
Did you ever go up White Bear Road?
Oh, yeah.
Do you think that nut on the hill that has all the lights?
But my concern with the river is this river is the cleanest it's been in over 60 years. I look at the levels of the river today.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'm on the river, I'm down here,
Yes.
next to, you know where Chris lives?
Yep.
On the old house in front.
I grew up in Pottstown and fished in that river, trapped that river, did everything in that river. That river's been the cleanest it's been in 65 years. When I was a kid, my dad would take me fishing in back of Firestone, where the spurred worms would run into the river. Back then, if you stepped off the riverbank, you'd sink up to here in cold water. The only fish in that river were carp, suckers, and catfish. Sunfish, that was it. The flood of '72 was the best thing that's happened. When I come back from Vietnam, I was surprised that the river had a rock bottom.
Yeah.
Because all that cold air got flushed down.
Right.
Mike Kaufman, who was the fisheries manager, I knew his brother-in-law, and I had some conversation. In fact, when I moved in '97, I guess it was around '99, he asked me if he could back the truck in and put 2 million shad fry back into the river. They never really took hold. But he told me what happens is, like with I won't eat any fish out of the river. But here's what's happened. At one time, we had tanneries along the river from Pottsville on down.
Yeah.
You had abattoirs, slaughterhouses, all that was wasted getting. You would have what was known as battery breaks. And a battery break is? Exide battery, general battery, all of them, what they would do is they'd give Billy Bob a pickup truck filled with batteries and a sledgehammer. So you go down along the river, wherever you find a clearing, break open the batteries, put the lead back in the pickup truck because we're gonna recycle it. Now, when you smash a battery with a sledgehammer, you don't reclaim all the lead, and where does all the sulfuric acid go? So what happened was, all the PCBs and all the stuff that was in that river got cleaned up because all these facilities shut down. So what happened is, he explained it to me this way: you have a 2-acre farm pond, becomes contaminated with everything that was in that river. You take the fish out and put them in an aquarium, drain all the contaminated water out, dredge the whole thing, put fresh dirt in, fresh sand and everything else, put fresh water in, throw the fish back in, they'll stay contaminated for the next 500 years. Because it gets locked into the fat tissue and gets bred from one fish to the other.
Right, like we're all filled with stuff.
Oh, yeah.
I have information on, the salt line at Philadelphia.
Yeah.
The water release out of Blue Marsh to keep the salt out of the
Yeah.
intakes at Philadelphia, and I have the flow rate of the Schuylkill River. So, there's no water in the Schuylkill for anything.
No.
No,
I
there
was
isn't.
trying to paddleboard a couple of weeks ago when it was a nice warm, and I couldn't even paddleboard.
No,
No.
no. But anyhow, I'm Tom Kahn.
I'm Rob Horst. My business card,
Okay.
my email.
Yeah, well, I'm an old retired guy, so I don't
You can just
really.
email me.
Okay.
You know, I'll tell you what, I'll keep you in the loop, and what I wanna do with all the garbage that I have is set it up by state, federal, state, power grid, electric sources, and in that one, if you looked at it, it tells you how much water is evaporated at a nuke plant per megawatt, how much CO2 is generated at oil, diesel plants and gas plants, and how much particulates are coming out, all by megawatt. So you have that now.
Yeah.
And another thing about these data centers is they operate sometimes with lithium-ion batteries, huge batteries.
Yeah.
What happens is with the battery, President of my hunting camp was police officer in New Hanover Township for 35 years, is fire marshal in New Hanover Township, and his son's state fire marshal.
When you have a Tesla that catches fire, you can't put water on it, you can't put foam on it, you just gotta let it burn.
Right,
What happens if one of these data centers catches fire?
right.
With a big lithium ion battery?
Well, I'm an old telephone guy, 40 years in the telephone.
Yeah.
The equivalent of a data center with centralizing
yeah.
all that.
Yep.
I did that. I was senior vice president for a phone company, local, but not
Yeah.
very big. But we were switching over 1 million calls a day at that plant. But we had to have Halon as a fire suppressor.
Yeah.
We had to have humidity makeup to keep.
But
The-
back then, you didn't have lithium ion.
No, but in the basement, we had lead acid
Yeah.
and we had calcium something else.
Yeah.
Yeah, and,
Calcium
well,
chloride.
yeah, well, you know that those batteries are considered hazardous.
Yep.
So once you go over, is it half a ton, you're in a hazard environmental site.
Yeah.
Well,
So all
So
that.
there's a lot of other things too, there are some other things that we learned since we started writing
Yeah.
that,
With
was that,
Compton and Knowles,
yeah,
I used to deliver concrete for them. And I was called in the office one day, you're gonna deliver 30 yards of concrete to the old,
next door.
yep. What we need you to do is when you approach the driveway, get out, put your Tyvek suit on, your Tyvek booties, put all your chutes on, get back in the truck. Once you go into Compton Knowles facility, the buildings that we're gonna fill with concrete, you break the windows with the chutes, do not get out of your vehicle. When you back out to the main driveway, get out, wash your tires down, wash your feet down, then take the truck back to get decontaminated.
And you're just gonna wash it with water and then let that sit there?
Yeah,
What else are you gonna do with that?
yeah.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
And you did that?
Yes, I took 5 loads into
And
there.
they filled the building with concrete?
The base of the building, yeah. We would dust like that window, I'd come through the window with my chute and just let flowable fill go in and
And then that's how they closed it up, is
That's
they
how they-
just filled it with concrete?
yes, that way it
So that's why,
trapped all the contaminants.
And not
but
only,
is it one of those buildings, isn't it gone now?
Yeah,
they're all gone.
they're all gone.
Yeah.
But
the
one
base,
just left recently, fairly recently.
yeah, but all the contaminants were in the foundation,
Yeah.
like the basement,
Mm-hmm.
first floor. So with all that filled with concrete, then they could go in and tear the rest of the buildings down.
Well,
Because that would contain the contamination in the building.
Oh, okay.
when I was manager here 10 years ago,
Yeah.
we were still getting annual or quarterly readings of the pilot wells
Yeah,
that were at that site. And they were starting to clean up,
yep,
but they were still not drinkable.
no.
So, yeah,
And if you go down the river adjacent to Compton and Knowles, you'll look in the center of the river, there's a large pipe, probably about 15 feet in diameter in the middle of that river. And I knew guys that worked in Compton and Knowles that said when the river was high, they would open a valve to that
Yeah.
pipe and let everything go into the river.
well, they let everything go downriver too
Oh,
during Agnes.
Yep,
Yeah, well, there's a lot of stuff, Reading is constantly, dumping sewage, and
Yeah.
they're doing a whole bunch of new stuff
Yeah.
across the river here with these, Exeter.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, there's a lot of, so I'm, right down here, I own into the river myself.
So will I,
Yeah.
yep,
Yeah.
My dad tells me when he was a young child, the river was blue
yeah,
before they started washing coal silt.
yep,
And then in the 30s and 40s, it was pretty bad. And then in the late 50s, they dredged it.
yep,
Up to that point, I was a kid, we'd start a campfire along the shore
yeah.
and we catch the coal on fire.
Well, I had my neighbor, he had an in-ground bee nest, and he comes over to me, he goes, hey, he says, I just dumped 2 gallons of gasoline down his bee hole. I said, don't light it. He goes, why? I said, 2 things, it's gonna blow a hole in the ground.
Yeah,
I said, number 2, that's coal dirt.
yeah.
We don't need another centralial.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he's from coal cracker land.
Well, that's how the park was established down at Union Township.
Yeah.
The pet park was a silting basin.
Yeah,
Yeah,
And then
there's a
down
number
farther,
of them all the way
Yeah.
down.
and then
yeah.
down
down in
farther,
Pottstown,
there's,
in Saratoga,
Yeah.
When I was a kid, we used to go there shooting all the time in the Silting Basin. Yeah.
Well, apparently this new solicitor took out Joan, took out, the Park and Rec, and also,
See, I thought that, on Monday, I thought it was only the solicitor was being changed for the Park and Rec, not for the, I don't know.
I don't know if it was Joan's idea. I already got a call from another township manager that said, what's going on in Robeson? They just got rid of 3 of their solicitors.
Yeah, like I said.
And they said the one they put in was doing their 3 jobs.
Right.
Yeah. But they
I don't know
also
what-
said he was something about the chairman of the new board.
Don't know, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know, can only
Yeah.
go as an observer what I saw,
Yeah,
you know, and go from there, so,
but I'm,
there we are.
I was surprised we didn't have they didn't have a solicitor then for reorganization.
No, that was not.
Now, I know, and that's why I questioned right up front. Are you the manager or are you the supervisor? You can't be both.
Right, well,
Yeah.
that's also why I questioned,
Yeah.
how can you vote on things if you're
Well, I did that the
sworn in?
first thing at the reorganization. If you look at the movie, I said, what's going on?
Yeah, so, whatever, well, you know. does
Hey,
this
I love
bottle
this
live on?
township. I chose this township. I didn't inherit it. I didn't, I was not born here. I'm not the gentry, okay? The gentry is fixed, Bickler and Harold.
Yeah.
And now they're trying to put, who is it? Another one on that has history here. But I was never part of the clique. I'm still not. But I don't give a shit anymore.
I've never been part of a clique anywhere.
No.
I'm my own person.
Well, I'm 80, so how old are you?
73.
Yeah. I'll tell you, I was good till 75. I hate to tell you, the last 5 years between my wife and I, it's been bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I'm going to try to organize the data that I have in a
Okay.
better format.
Good.
Yeah, are you coming, I can reach out to you when I go through some of that stuff.
Yeah.
So what I don't wanna do is overload people.
Yeah, I
You
know,
know, first
I
off
know.
is they need to know the source,
Right,
and that's
right.
it's a relevant source,
Right.
you know, it's like,
Some
where are we
of
getting our
those I just
information?
use.
We're getting from Fox News, or are we getting it from, you know,
Yeah.
reliable sources?
Some of
Exactly.
the stuff I just got from AI. I put a question in.
Yeah, but
and
where are they getting it? It's
Yeah,
like
exactly.
Wikipedia.
I know.
See,
There's a
that's,
problem right
but-
now with the
but-
judicial system. There's a lot of judges throwing out a lot of cases. Because what happens is they'll look at case law and a lawyer will come in with their version of case law they got from AI and it doesn't jive with
Yeah,
the criminal justice.
right, exactly, so that's why it's,
yeah.
where's the
Well,
information
I wanna get
specific?
the information from Blue Marsh, from PMJ, PGM,
Yeah.
Philadelphia
Right,
is
the
water
PJM,
plant.
the reason that the rates didn't go up as high is because they, put a max on it. And then that
But
lid
they
is
won't be
coming
able to
off.
keep it. Like I said, every time you go up 222 and you see the peaking plant
Yeah.
smoking, that means they don't have enough generation to carry the excessive load.
Yeah,
Same way with Birchburg.
right. So there were some things that we put into that document, and did you look at the document that we created
I
on the
didn't-
website? If not,
No,
I'll
I didn't
email it
see
to
it.
you, cause I have it.
I don't have Facebook either.
You don't have to have Facebook.
Oh.
Yeah, no, it's on the website, but it's a little hard to scroll down. So what
Okay.
we can do is just take it and I can just email it to you.
Okay,
So that you
sounds
can
good.
take a look at it.
Yeah.
Like I said, there's things that we know that need to be kind of tweaked a little
Yeah.
bit, like things like
Yeah.
the distance, for example, from to nearby homes. It's
Yeah.
really, should be a little bit bigger than what
Oh,
the
yeah.
number is. So we, you
Because there's a
know,
lot of noise pollution from the HVAC systems in those
Oh,
data centers.
Yeah.
well, I live on White Bear and a quarter mile from the elementary school.
Yeah.
I hear those air conditioners running all night long.
Right,
when, on a hot summer night.
yeah, so there's, you know, I mean, that's a big sticking point for a lot of people.
Some of
but
these
it's-
data centers too are a front for
Exactly.
mining Bitcoin. They run 24/7 mining Bitcoin.
Well, not only that,
I can't even,
What?
like, that whole concept
well,
is
one of
I
the
know,
things,
that's bizarre to me.
well, one of the things that Trump wants is the data centers for sure. But he wants one place to go to know who you are, what you own, what your Facebook,
If, you know what, he needs to look in the mirror and do that first. You
Yeah.
lead by example, okay?
but,
Lead by example. If you need to do that, let's look at your tax returns, Mr. Trump.
Oh,
Let's
my
look
tax
at-
return.
Exactly, so
Yeah,
until
yeah.
he turns around, he's not gonna get what
I
he
see,
wants
I
all the
see
time.
5 Republicans voted
Yes.
against him. And he's already gonna run, he's already had people running against him in the primaries.
Yeah,
So if you're running against, you have people running against me in the primary, why should I ever vote Republican the rest of the year? I would hope that 4 to 5 Republicans switch parties.
well, it shouldn't be about party.
No, I know, but the party determines
At one time, okay, it doesn't matter whether you're Republican or Democrat, you work toward the same goal.
Right.
not anymore.
No, I
No.
understand.
It's hooray for me and screw the other guy.
Mm-hmm.
And the other, Trump, every time he opens his mouth,
I
it's
turned it off, I
Biden
can't
and
listen to it.
Democrat
It's
and
driving me crazy.
Democrat.
Yeah, it's
Right
like
now, he's
fake.
even floating canceling the midterms.
You can't,
I get it.
he
I know,
can't
but-
legally do that, so it's like, well, nobody's gonna pay attention, you know?
Yeah.
You know, I'm a judge for for elections,
Yeah,
for specifically when he was running,
yeah.
because I wanted to make sure there wasn't any hocus pocus stuff going on,
Yeah.
you know, in one of the precincts.
Well,
It's not where I vote, this is where I vote, but someplace else.
somebody
Where 2
found,
buses from that church left, a month later, and went down to Washington DC. So, those are the people, there were people standing in front of that building doing YMCA with their big old freaking,
yeah.
you know, MAGA hats on and stuff. It was frightening, it's frightening.
Well, the one that frustrates me is Eshelman.
Doesn't feel so bad once you're out there for a while.
I don't trust them, so I'm gonna stay here to see if they have a vote after they come out of executive. Of course, they
What-
never
I
say,
need to get
they
going.
never say they won't.
Nice meeting you.
Yeah,
So that
yeah, you
means
too.
to
And so
me
it's,
that
we
if
don't
I
have
can
a
get
full
away with something with nobody in the
list
audience,
of
now's
what's
the
going on, I
time.
think it's like in the,
Oh,
but it's not, we're not meeting until the 3rd,
I'll
Okay.
tell you what,
yeah.
at the reorganization, your name came up, and
So it gives it, you know, a list of where everything is, so,
you got a year's worth.
because we would've been on the
Whereas
same
the other
day
one's only got
as
30 days.
Right.
But you got a full year.
today, we would've been the same day as today.
Yeah.
What day is
Oh.
today? I don't even know.
No.
So,
Today's
that's,
good.
so we just took a pause, so we are
Yeah,
meeting on the
hold
3rd,
When was going to get
of,
another trailer?
February.
Yep.
Yeah,
February
my
5th.
5th,
trailer
I'm sorry, 5th, we're meeting on the 5th of
fits
February.
his,
And right
but
here?
it's tight.
Yeah, and then it's right
So
here,
he's
yeah.
gonna get
And then,
another trailer.
so, you know, then it's just sort of like, too, I don't know, I'm still going through, you know, board of supervisors, but we may be looking over it, going
I was like the
through,
fortunate one of everyone I know did not get
sure
there.
that there's,
Yeah.
we're standing up and,
Okay, we're back in session at 9:08. There's no other business before this board. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make that motion.
Second,
Second.
all those in
Good
favor?
Scott.
Aye.
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 Were you the second,
This
Scott?
motion's
No.
adjourned, this meeting's adjourned, nothing else.
Yeah.
So if you,
You took notes.